Hello, everybody. Here we are with a surprise amalgam podcast.
Yep.
In December, we announced that Max would have his podcast, The Triple Crown, and we would still have the Stu-Ing podcast, but due to availability and good fortune, we've decided to do an amalgam today, the Stu-Ing Triple Crown Super Fun Show. So, Max, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. I am Max. I'm Dad's son, and I have a sports podcast called Triple Crown. So.
I am Stu, Max's dad, who has a Stu-Ing podcast, and of course, our most important friend and colleague, TV's Mr. Ming Chen.
What's up, everybody? Great honor having you guys in here. I love that no one loves a mashup more than me, so or crossover. So we're sharing universes here.
Yes,
so.
Yes.
And the last time we actually did a mashup was with the American Loser podcast. So we hope maybe in whatever form that Larry and KP come up with, we hope we have the other opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, what I must say is that there are some people who are not here because the beautiful and gracious Sean has to work today.
Yep.
And then she has a bat mitzvah to go to tonight. Not her own, but one of a family friend. And the athletic and wonderful Miss Dina, Max's sister, is at a dance competition today in East Brunswick. So we'll tell her to break a leg.
Yeah.
You guys are busy.
Because
you got stuff you got going on after this. So this is the beginning.
We do. It's an amazing day today because after we're here, we're going to go visit with our friend, Mr. George Kormos from Revere Picture Framing in Middletown, New Jersey. He has a number of items that he has framed and archived for us. One of which is that when my mom and dad were still around, they went on a trip to Las Vegas, and this was, I think around 2012, and they said to me, Stu, what would you like? And being a big Pawn Stars fan, I said, can you go in to the pawn shop? And at that point in time, the crew on Pawn Stars had just made a tremendous purchase of silver, and they minted old man ingots or coins, and so my mom and dad graciously got me one of the Pawn Stars silver medals and a $2 bill signed by all four Pawn Stars because the old man was still with us at that time. So because my dad was the type of guy he was. Ed Greenberg, the motto, it's good enough. He put together this abomination where the metal was too thick for the picture frame. So he crammed it in there and crammed the picture in and crammed the $2 bill in then wrapped it up in black electrical tape.
That sounds just like him.
That's a grandpa maneuver. So I took it to George, our friend, and he was horrified at that. And so he, with a surgeon's precision, he took it apart and got everything apart in pieces, and he's gonna do he's framed it for us. We're going to pick that up. And also our good friends at Lilu Multiprops, the autograph people, and the Ashley and Joe, who are co-owners of Smog Castle Cinemas, had the good fortune of having an autograph session with John Lithgow. And I, for one of my favorite movies is the Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. And I have, they got me an autograph from John Lithgow as Dr. Emilio Lizardo. So we're going to pick that up today as well.
That's a cool piece, man.
It's
awesome.
And even better, Ming, it's going to go with my autograph from Peter Weller as Dr. Buckaroo Banzai. So I'm going to have the good guy and the bad guy from that movie.
Also the whole doctor setup from doctors from different shows and universes. You're going to have all of them together. in your
Yes,
office?
yes, because I also have Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd from the Back to the Future movies, which I know we all love in this room.
Yeah.
And I also have Dr. Smith from Lost in Space. I was fortunate enough to meet Jonathan Harris at a Chiller Theater show, and what was funny about that was when I met Jonathan Harris. He's a guy who was like, "Oh my, William.
Oh, the pain, the
Oh,
pain, the pain.
So I say to Mr. Harris, I was like, Mr. Harris, I loved Lost in Space when I was a kid, but holy crap, did you scare the crap out of me? And he was like, well, I've done my job then, dear boy. It was a delight. So
How old was he?
he was
at that point?
He was 2 days older than God.
Okay.
He was very old. And,
Yeah.
and fortunately, I've been in the autograph hobby long enough that I got like the key people. Like I got most of the cast of the Batman *66 show.
Yeah.
Who, unfortunately, most of them are gone now. But yeah, so I have a whole mad scientist hanging on the wall in my home office. Along with that, I have my infamous picture with Kreskin when I'm in a Star Trek uniform. Mm-hmm. And as people have heard me say numerous times before, and Ming was actually there with me, I sold him and the other comic book men a Kreskin ESP game. And then I happened to be at the Big Apple Con, Mike Carbo's show, and Kreskin was there. And he's like, oh, wait, aren't you the guy who sold my game? And then I got my picture taken with Kreskin, and I was wearing a Star Trek science tunic. And then at another Chiller theater, I got Kreskin to sign it. So that's, particularly because I am a market researcher and I have to predict the future.
Yeah.
That's why it was appropriate to have a picture of Kreskin.
You're the Kreskin of your job.
Pretty
much.
Well, yeah, pretty
Something
much.
like that.
Something like that. So, unfortunately, I seem to be better predicting the bad behavior of relatives than sales figures, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's definitely a podcast for another day.
So, and then we will also go to visit our friends at the Tell 'em Steve Dave General Store, although we will miss TV's Walt Flanagan because, from what I understand, there's a shed delivery today.
Who is this guy? He's getting he needs a shed?
Have you seen how big his backyard is?
No.
I've been back there.
You've been back?
Yeah.
I have not.
I've only seen it on video.
Yeah.
Not only could he put a shed, he could put a whole medieval village back there.
Good. Or I've been back there several times. Once for the picnic Olympics,
Yeah.
the
Wait, what?
TSD Olympics. We did a bunch of like field day type
Yeah.
games
Oh,
there.
nice.
Which we lost miserably.
Yeah.
And then
Hey, if you need someone to like carry you in games, I'm available.
yeah, I wish you. Yeah, I would have put you in there instead of me. There was also the infamous story where we threw a 4th of July party.
Yeah.
And there was a bounce castle back there.
Oh.
But we all had to pay for it. Like, usually you go to someone's party and you just go, they take care of everything. He delegated. He's like, all right, you got to get the bounce castle. You got to pay for it, though. I was like, all
Well,
right, fine.
I hope you got enough bounces out of that.
Oh, I use that thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
definitely use that thing.
We when Max and his sister were small, we actually had bought a bounce castle as well. Unfortunately, I stored it in my shed, and I had these mice come in and chew up a very expensive bounce house. So that was
You
unfortunate.
must have been bouncing off the walls after that.
Good one, Max. So and then to go back to the events of today, Max is going to be participating in a Magic the Gathering tournament at Retro Lotus in Somerville, New Jersey. And Max, I see you have a bunch of your cards.
Yes, I do.
Would you like to explain what Magic the Gathering is for the people who don't know, and what the
The cards
order
are.
of magnitude of the importance of these cards are?
Yes, I will. So, for those who don't know, Magic the Gathering is a turn-based card game where you play cards, cast spells, play big creatures, and try to knock out your opponents and be the last one standing. So, I have some of my favorite decks here with me. I picked them out because either I was using them today or I thought they'd be appropriate to share. So, this first one is I picked for appropriation. This is Sauron, Lord of the Rings, from when Magic and Lord of the Rings did a collaboration together. He costs 9 mana, which you use by playing lands and tapping them to generate the mana. And then when you cast him, you amass orcs 5. So you have an orc army right here.
So if I may step in for one moment.
Yeah.
I go and I drop Max off and I hang out at the store a little bit, and I was looking at Max and his friends play the game, and it's so incredibly complicated, and I was trying to figure it out, and I said to Terry, who runs the store, I said to Terry, I'm like, hey, I'm a pretty smart guy. I have a PhD, and I don't know what the hell's going on here. And he's like, Stu, there are like 1,000 pages of rules. I said, okay, I don't feel that bad. It's a very complicated game. Would you say, Max, very strategy driven?
Yes. The thing is, though, is that I think IBM did a study where it was they determined it was with all the rules that exist and are coming out, you can't predict what's gonna happen. So there's so much formats, so many different ways to play.
So there's so many combinations of
stuff you can do. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, that's cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Sauron, he builds up an orc army, right? And then you mill 5 cards, which is you take a card from the top of your library and you put it into the graveyard, and then whenever he takes out an opponent's commander, which is the top card that your deck is built around, the ring tempts you. So
okay,
he's built around that because he loves the One Ring, obviously. Which I don't have that card, the one that's written in the Mordor language, cause
the Elven language, or
no
Mordor.
Yeah, Mordor.
They're like the dark elves.
Yeah,
but the good dark elves, not like the dark elves in Thor, the Dark World, which kind of sucked, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I don't have that card because that card it costs $2.4 million and Post Malone owns it. So
okay, all right.
So then
we did buy lottery tickets on the way here, so who knows?
By the time it's by the lottery drops, I may have that card. So
okay, let's see.
Yep. And so the next one is from Streets of New Capenna, the Roaring 20 set from Magic the Gathering that everyone hates except me. I find it's amazing. And this is from the Obscura crime family, who are the wizards who puppeteer the shadows. This is.
So just another point about the Roaring 20s. Mm-hmm. Sean and I did another viewing of the entire Sopranos series, and it was amazing to see. And actually, on the second whole viewing, you realize that really everybody in that show except Dr. Melfi is terrible. But after we were done with this, with the Sopranos, we were looking for another show to watch, and I said, "Hey, let's watch Seinfeld." So we watched the first 4 or 5 episodes of Seinfeld, and they have not aged well, in my personal opinion. They were ideal for the time, so we didn't want to continue that. So now what we're watching, which I highly recommend, we're almost done with season 1, is Boardwalk Empire. Ming, have you seen Boardwalk Empire?
I've seen a couple episodes. Steve Buscemi is brilliant. It's a great show.
It's amazing. It's it's. I highly recommend it. Like I said, it could take a turn for the worse in season 2. I doubt it very much, but we're enjoying it very much.
When did the show come out? Boardwalk Empire.
It came out after the Sopranos, so I think it was in the 2012 range. Ming, are you looking it up for us?
I am, and let's see, when did it premiere? First episode, 2011. It looks like.
Oh, all right.
They won a Golden Globe. Yeah, so September 19th, 2010. Yeah. 5-season run, 56 episodes.
Yeah, no, but really super, and you see a lot of folks from The Sopranos in the show, and but just what's amazing about it is just how well they captured, the period. It looks amazing. So, and let's just say it pretty much was not comfortable in the 1920s.
I mean, unless you were at a speakeasy, but that's
well.
yeah.
Yeah, if you were a mob boss and you ruled Atlantic City.
Exactly.
Even
I
then,
mean,
it
hey,
wasn't
I
that
go to
easy.
Atlantic City
Even
like
then.
every summer, so
well,
I mean,
A little different now.
yeah,
that-
a lot different now,
A little
actually.
different now.
that's true. Max and his sister and their mom actually go as kind of a standard tradition to Atlantic City in the summer. So, but that's fun. You go to the beach and
Yeah, we go to the beach, walk the boardwalk at night because it's nice.
yeah, I mean all the pretty lights and all that.
Yeah,
so
go to Johnny Rockets.
what's not to like there?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say though, I'm not a beach person. Look at me. I'm like an albino. It's like I'm not. I don't burn. I sizzle. But
I still got somewhat of a tan.
yeah, you do, Max. But Sean likes the beach. So we spent New Year's on Seven Presidents Beach. It was cold, but it was great to see the ocean, and it was something new. And I tried to fly a kite, and it was miserably. It was a major fail. But what Sean and I were saying is that she, like Max and Dina, love the beach. So we're going to try and really, as much as we can, battling shore traffic is hit the beach more this summer. So that should be a fun thing that you and your sister and Sean and I can do. So. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go on with
oh,
your.
no, don't worry. So back to this. This is one of the more infamous cards of the set, Tivit, Seller of Secrets. He is a 6-mana, 6/6 Sphinx, which he has flying and a ward 3. Ward is whenever you try to cast a spell to get rid of him, you have to pay 3 extra mana. Ward costs are different. For some of my other cards, you have to lose 2 life. Others is sacrifice a creature, or you have to pay 1. So the ward can be very different. And so he does voting. So whenever he enters the battlefield or does combat damage to a player, starting with you, the player who owns him, each player votes for evidence or bribery. For evidence, you make a clue token, which is you pay 2 mana, tap and sacrifice it, and you get to draw a card. Or a treasure, which you sacrifice, and it gets you 1 extra mana. And then you get to vote twice.
Okay.
If you have Time Sieve, which is an artifact where you sacrifice 5 artifacts, you get to take an extra turn. You pretty much make an infinite combo where you have infinite turns. You swing out with him, and you just knock out all of your opponents.
So Max, I mean, you obviously are very knowledgeable about all these different cards. You're playing. You started playing in these tournaments. How do you feel like your skill progression has been?
I think it's progressed pretty well. I've definitely become more of a controlled, not so much like going out and like swinging out and like attacking all the time. I've definitely calmed. I've learned how to play a bit more defensively and not tip your hand all the time.
Cool. More strategic.
Yeah, more strategically and just a bit more controlled.
Okay. What's the next card we're going to discuss?
So the next card from the same set is the Broker family. These are the people that have a law firm where they'll help you out in exchange for a little favor. This is I don't have the family head. Same with the Obscura. Hopefully I'll get them eventually. I do for the other deck we will talk about. But this is Perry the Pulverizer. He is 4 mana for a Rhino. So whenever he enters the battlefield, you put a shield counter on a target creature. A shield counter kind of works as protection, so if they were to be the target of a spell, you just simply remove the counter and the creature still lives.
Okay.
He cares about counters a lot. So whenever Perry attacks, target creature you control gains trample and gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of different kinds of counters on other permanents you control. Permanents are like different cards, so any form of counters you have, like +1/+1, -1/-1, shield counters, like land counters, all that stuff, he cares about them because he pumps up your creatures or himself, and he comes in and hits hard in combat. That's what he cares about. this next deck, again, the final deck from Streets of New Capenna that I have, the Cabaretti family. These are the party people who are, like, ironically enough, cats and dogs, which outside us right now are a cat and dog convention right now. It's
An adoption day.
yeah, which I heard dogs barking in the background, but so
We're very lucky that well, as much as we would love to have Dina here, but if Dina was here, we would end up coming back home with at least 1 or 2 cats.
and Shayna would probably not be very happy.
That Shayna is the cat that we inherited from Grandma and Grandpa. So yeah.
Yeah. So this is the head of the family. I pulled him in my first ever collector's pack of Streets of New Capenna. It is Jetmir, Nexus of Reveals. He is a 4-drop cat demon. He is the head of the Cabaretti family. He cares about creatures. So creatures you control get +1/0 and have vigilance as long as you control 3 or more creatures. Vigilance means that usually whenever you have an action, you turn the card sideways, which is tapping. Vigilance is you can do the action without tapping a creature.
Okay.
The next one is creatures you control have +1/0 and get trample as long as you control 6 or more creatures. Trample being, which I should have explained, whenever you block, any damage that's left over still goes through. And then when you have 9 or more creatures you control get +1/0 and have double strike as long as you control 9 or more. Double strike is they do double damage. So the more creatures you have, they get +3/0 if you have 9 or more, and get vigilance, trample, and double strike. That's what he does. The actual commander of the set was right here, which is Kit Cano Miriam Diva. It's a cat druid, and she sings in the lore. She's apparently a big pop star in the world. So whenever she enters, you create a 1/1 green and white citizen, and then whenever beginning of combat on each player's turn, you may tap 2 untapped creatures, and then give a target creature 2/2/2, and they gain trample, and then they are goaded. So goaded means they can't attack you on any of your turns, if able.
Okay.
And then the last card from this one, thankfully, which I actually got from playing against Terry. He gave me this card, Terry, who runs Retro Lotus.
Yeah, the Retro Lotus in Somerville, New Jersey, which is our preferred gaming store. So.
Yeah, if I'm turning the cards sideways, I have to read them because I'm somewhat not really familiar with them. I don't remember.
Max, you're pretty darn familiar with them.
Some of the card text I can't remember, and I don't want to botch it. So.
Okay.
Yeah, this one especially, I've only seen 2 times in the deck. This is Ginny Faye. This is Jetmir's second. This is an elf, however, but she's like a fashion designer, like a top tier fashion model in New Capenna. So you have a singer, a party person who's like Gatsby of the world, and a fashion designer. Pretty good party. If you were to create 1 or more tokens, you may instead create that many 2/2 green cat creature tokens with haste, or that many 3/1 green dog creature tokens with vigilance. Haste means they can attack the same turn that they come out of play.
So the goal is when you're going to play an individual game or tournament is to build a deck that you feel will be most competitive in that particular scenario.
Yes.
Cool. Mm-hmm. And then you have
one final deck. This deck isn't really complete, but I mean it's a start. And this deck I'm gonna build up over time, and it'll hopefully be good. Cards are, while they aren't that expensive, there's a lot of cards you have to get, and I have to rework a lot of the deck foundation. This was originally a precon known as Blood Rights with Clavileño in the deck, who was a 3-drop who created demons. He was a vampire.
So this is the vampire deck?
Yes.
Okay.
However, the other day, the last time I was at Retro Lotus, I pulled this dude. He is Edgar Markov. In the Magic world, he kind of needs no introduction, but for those who are new, he is the best vampire commander you can ever have. He was pretty expensive, but his value came down with the new set Innistrad Remastered. In the lore, he was like the first ever vampire, so he has a thing called Eminence. So whenever he isn't in play or in play. Whenever you play a vampire, you make another vampire. He has first strike and haste, and whenever he attacks, whenever he attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on a vampire you control. So he cares a lot about vampire synergy. So no matter what, as long as you're playing vampire stuff, you will get more vampires. You play him, they get pumped up more and more and have a lot more value. That's what he cares about.
Cool.
This deck is not complete, and there's a lot more that has to get added to it. But over time, I feel like that will be a pretty strong deck for me to run.
Max, it's amazing how you have this, whole, breadth and depth of knowledge in this particular area. So,
Yeah.
so I'm glad you found something that you're passionate about.
How long you been playing for?
About 2.5 years.
Okay,
almost
you picked
3.
up a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and in July I'll be playing for 3 years.
Amazing. And how long you been competing, going to tournaments?
Since June of last year.
Okay, it's almost a year.
Yeah, almost.
So this tournament today, what format is
it's
it?
Commander, which is all these decks are. The thing is that it's the adventure one, so it's a $10 entry, and the winner of the game, it's one game. The winner gets 4 packs or packs of as many people that are in, all to themselves, so they can split or keep them. And the thing is that you get a effect or a different rule that whenever it's your upkeep or whenever it's the beginning of your turn, you get a special ability to do. So like some are like you like gain a bunch of life, draw some cards, like do damage to opponents. So it's like that.
So, Ming, this is right up your alley because of, the Coral Sword that you have in Texas.
Yes. So Max, I'm a partner in a gaming cafe in Texas, and very Magic heavy. We're in one of the upper tier Magic shops, so we gotta get you down there.
Okay.
Yeah, every time I visit down there, right about 6, 7. I mean, the place is full of people play Magic all day, but then when we do tournaments or release weekends. Release weekends are awesome. We just had the Aether Drift release weekend about a month ago. That was fun.
For the Space Weekend one, I forget the name of the set. Like I would definitely hopefully consider coming down there and like competing. That'd be
I think you'd have a lot of fun there.
Yeah, I have Comet Stellar Pup in my house. I would hopefully like put him in one of the space decks and build that.
Yeah, and we got a streaming booth down there too. So me and Stu will just be podcasting.
There you go.
We can, we just set it up where there's like a main table. There's a top-down camera.
Yeah.
So you could play. We do commentary.
Yeah.
Do wacky commentary.
You can have me commentate as well.
Yeah, you could commentate for sure. Yeah, it's good. It's a lot of fun.
We can use all my frequent flyer miles and have a weekend.
Hey, that would work.
But I will say that not in the near term because I'm still settling into my new position at work. But we will definitely put that on the to-do list.
You got time. It'll be there for a while.
Yeah,
or,
the space set comes out in like August, so we have a good amount of time.
Well,
we'll coincide it with the great Comic Palooza, the best one of the best conventions in Texas, if not the country.
Texas is nice. I know I have other friends in Texas as well, so we'll definitely put it on the possibility list.
Yeah, it's hot. That's the only thing. It's hot.
Yeah, I like hot
You
water.
notice I hedged my bet, so
Yes.
definitely put it on the possibility list.
Put it on the list. Put it on the list.
Before we leave, I do want to mention I did not address Ginny Faye's mana. The special symbols. I don't think you can see like the split green red and the split lands, as you can see the green red green out. Those are sorry for not talking to Mike. Those split lands are called hybrid lands. So like dual lands that you gotta have a certain type, you need to play that mana. So that's what you need.
In addition to doing the Magic the Gathering, you play D&D as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
So and that's something that I did, when I was your age. I would play in D&D campaigns. I played in high school and in college, and even though the D&D rules are now very
Oh yeah.
very complicated. That's something that I hope at some point in time. We have our friend Josh has said that he would be a DM for us, so that's something
Yeah.
we could consider. So, Ming, do they do any Dungeons and Dragons down there?
We do a lot of D&D down there.
Yeah.
So you need dice. We got it.
Yeah, I have my dice in my bag right now.
Yeah, you never know when
Yeah.
a campaign's gonna break out.
Well, when Max first expressed an interest, I showed him my original D&D books and my original dice, and I said, let me get you other dice because
Yeah.
I don't want to part with these precious treasures.
Yeah.
No, those are heirlooms. Man.
Those aren't
Yeah.
heirlooms.
Those
Yeah.
have like literal magic in them.
Yeah,
Soul.
they do.
They have
Yeah.
a life.
From
I got mine too. They're at my parents' house.
Let
but
me-
I still have my own dice bag.
Let me tell you something. I remember playing when I was in high school, and we were in one of the guys' basement. It doesn't matter who it was, but and we were playing, and at that point in time, there were some people who might have been imbibing certain
Okay, say
bits
no
of
more.
grog.
Sure.
and
Some meat
and-
going around. Yeah.
and we're doing this, and one of my friends at that time, looked around and said, "It doesn't get better than this." And I said, "Oh my God, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope it does. I hope it gets better." and it did. So,
it did, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, late '70s D&D, basement campaign with guys illicitly drinking beer. It got a little better than that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, not much, but
Yeah.
in the moment he wasn't far off.
In the moment, he
In the
wasn't,
moment, he
far
wasn't
off.
far off.
So, are we? Have we covered the Magic the
Yeah,
Gathering?
I think we have. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk about recent pop culture events that we've and movies and shows we've experienced, and then talk about what's coming up that we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
So this is going to be spoiler heavy for the shows we're going to discuss. I mean, Captain America has been out for quite a while,
Yeah.
but so I think we're safe in discussing that. Ming, I assume that you saw that pretty quick.
You would assume wrong, Stu. I've been so busy that here's the thing. I used to go to the theater every weekend,
Yeah.
sometimes twice, and see whatever came out. And that was when I was less busy.
Yeah,
And I don't know, man. Going to the theater, it's a big time commitment now.
it is.
So with the
Yeah.
trailers, I try to get there early.
Yeah.
I need my popcorn, my icy.
I
The
just
trailers
get a drink.
seem to run for about half an hour now.
If
Yeah.
you're lucky.
Which is fine. I love trailers.
Yeah.
But and then what's the runtime on that movie? It's over 2 hours.
I think it's shorter than that.
It definitely felt shorter than that when I saw it. And
Yeah.
it felt quick.
So yeah, long story short, by the time I get out of there, by the time I leave the house, and then to the time I get back, like 4 hours have gone by, and I haven't been able to carve that time out. To be honest with you,
So you haven't seen it as of yet.
I have not, but something we're going to talk about later, which I could watch at home, was Daredevil: Born Again. And
Okay.
we'll get to that for
We'll
sure.
get to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
no. Talk about Captain
Okay.
America. Yeah,
So,
it's
well,
not.
I mean, let me-
I've heard everything. So
Okay, all right.
there aren't any really spoilers, really.
No, not really.
No, not really.
So
Yeah, no.
so the only let's talk about going to movies. We used to go to movies a lot more than we do now.
Yeah.
And also, to tell you the truth, there are now we're spoiled with the streaming services and pay-per-view, and I'd rather pay $19 to do pay-per-view and be able to pause it, and and if I do that and Max wants to see it or Sean wants to see it, then it makes more sense
Yeah.
from a financial point of view. But there are certain things that I just like to see in a theater. I like to see, the Marvel movies. I like to see the DC movies. My preference for seeing movies is to go to Smog Castle Cinemas.
Yes.
And when Kevin is there and have the experience of, Kevin either talking about his own movies or other movies. Max got initiated into the Viewer Skin
Yeah.
Universe with Vulgarthon this year.
Uh-huh.
So I like that is an experience. But for the last couple of Marvel movies, I've tried to go to the theater. So
Yeah.
Max and I had the chance to go on Valentine's Day because what's a bigger Valentine
What's more romantic than Red Hulk?
than Red Hulk? Exactly.
I mean, hey, this is right as a heart full of chocolate.
Side note: Sean would disagree. But, in any case,
well.
I liked Captain America. I mean, what?
I thought this is what I'll think. It was. I felt like there could have been more. Like it was good up until the fight at the Adamantium Island. After that, the movie kind of just lost me of what the big bad guy was trying to do. Like his whole plan kind of just fell apart, and for someone who was supposed to make immaculate calculations, for you to just go turn yourself in and bet that was just the lamest thing ever.
Well, and also as we see from the merchandising, there were reshoots because what's that character's name? The leader isn't that the guy with the brain? I think that's the leader. Yeah.
There are a lot of reshoots.
Yeah, and because what happened is that if you look at the Funko Pops, he has a bulbous head with hair and a goatee versus having a broccoli head.
Yeah.
Or
it's wait, what? Yeah, it's wait, what happened?
Yeah,
there?
what happened there?
Yeah.
So I mean, I liked it, but this was also one of those movies where they had to for a very short period of time, I worked for United Airlines between my master's and my PhD. And one of my colleagues said to me, Stu, what do you think the purpose of our company is? I'm like, moving passengers around. He goes, no, we don't. The passengers are an extra benefit. Our purpose is to move planes around and get them in the right spots. So this movie really was kind of let's organize things for what's coming next.
It's a setup movie.
It's a setup movie.
Okay.
That being said, look, Anthony Mackie is wonderful.
Yeah.
Giancarlo
Esposito, I thought was pretty good. He was solid.
He's solid in everything he does. I mean, the Hulk is my second favorite. Well, I'll say my third favorite after Chronic and Blunt Man. Then it's Batman.
Right.
Then it's Batman, and then it's
questionable superheroes.
And
by
then
the
it's
way,
then it's the Hulk. But I personally like the Hulk in all of the manifestations. My personal favorite is Professor Hulk.
yes.
But I just like seeing. I like seeing Red Hulk. That was cool. I mean, I think it was. I think it made up for the Eternals.
I mean, it kind of. The Eternals was just disappointing.
There's a lot to make up from that.
Yeah, that kind of started.
We don't really talk about the Eternals
Yeah.
much
we
here.
don't mention the Eternals.
I honestly forgot it was a movie until they talked about the island.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm glad they addressed it because you have a gigantic head and hands sticking out of the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, sticking out of the earth, no big deal.
Well, and I think that also one of the things that I harp on is that if you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it is so different than where it started that it's gone into the fantastic, and it's nice to see that them starting to acknowledge the different parts of it. Yeah. And here's the adamantium in the room. There's adamantium, which means that this is the segue to the introduction of the X-Men.
Yeah,
so
we can use the A word.
We can use the A word.
The A word.
So I Harrison Ford is a delight. I mean, the Red Hulk really looked like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I mean, still the eternal question from I think I asked Lou Ferrigno this when I got his autograph.
Who was that?
Why Lou Ferrigno was the TV Hulk?
Oh, okay.
Why does the shirt rip off but not the pants? I mean, it's like.
And what did he say?
He was like, do you really want to see the pants rip off? I'm like, no, I don't. No
okay,
one.
good answer, Lou. Good answer.
No one wants to, but there's that. But I thought it was enjoyable, and it looked okay. I mean, it looked a little, cheesy in parts, but it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I saw the DC fight scene where the way the Hulk travels in the comics is he bounces around.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. But they're laying waste to DC basically.
well, okay, and just to get political for a moment.
yes.
Oh boy.
There was a joke, I believe it was from Eddie Pence, the podcaster and comedian, who said that under the current political situation, they did more harm to the White House than the Red Hulk did, which was hilarious.
Oh.
So, hey-o.
Hey-o.
So, all right, so now let's move to Daredevil Born Again.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Let me be perfectly honest. I did not see any of the original Daredevil. I didn't see,
The Netflix.
the Netflix.
That was
Okay.
kind of before my time.
Well, because that was pre-COVID, and I didn't have Netflix before COVID. COVID was the point that I was like, I've got to do something.
What is this Netflix that everyone is speaking of?
Well, and
Perhaps I should
Yes.
inquire. Like,
yes,
Yeah.
and also that's Stranger Things is a Netflix show.
It is.
To be honest, I've not watched Stranger Things.
Well,
so, that's
Your
yeah.
your sister has, and everybody said to me, "Look, Stu, 80s pop culture, and you're not watching this." So, I mean, so during COVID, I caught up on Stranger Things. So, I haven't seen those Netflix shows like Daredevil.
Jessica Jones, Defenders, Luke Cage.
Yeah, so, but we watched
Iron Fist you can skip.
Yeah.
from what I understand. We watched the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Have you seen the first 3? or-
I've seen the first 2.5, so
Okay.
yeah, they're great.
Oh,
So,
God. Yeah.
spoilers ahead. Spoilers ahead. This is what I like. I like. This is like the Andor of
Yes.
Marvel
Good,
shows.
good
Definitely.
analogy. Good
So
analogy.
I mean, but basically what happens is it's taking the source material and elevating it in a adult way, in a street level way, and I find it fascinating, and it's more gritty and realistic. I mean, Max and I love the Penguin, but that had
Yeah.
more fantastical elements to a certain degree.
Yeah,
So-
no, people bleed in this.
Yeah.
This series. People get
A lot.
People get killed, but
A
there's a
lot.
lot of blood.
Yeah,
People
so-
get bruised and bloodied. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so what are your thoughts so far, Ming?
I am very glad it came back. I enjoyed the Netflix series immensely. I did. I think it paid Daredevil justice. It was tough after a lot of people don't like the Ben Affleck one, which is not awesome. There's some elements that are good in there, but I mean, Daredevil's a cool character, and exists in our universe basically. Like he's the exists in Hell's Kitchen. So, and then when I heard it got canceled, I was like, wait, why? It was more like it was losing any of their storyline. It was they were on the upswing. It was really good. But I was like, all right, Disney bought it. They're probably going to relaunch it in a couple years. And
Yeah.
sure enough, they did.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see it back. And I mean, they've kept the same tone and spirit as the original Netflix series. So
It's definitely like a full blown like reboot of it.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Born Again, because of like they've killed off like core characters.
yeah, and you watch, it's got a lot of Frank Miller elements in there. So it's I think they did a great job.
Yeah, we're liking it very much. Ming, do you watch Invincible?
Yes.
I don't.
Well,
Yeah, you're.
Yeah.
now I just watch it to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, it's great.
I finished up the latest season,
Yeah.
and it's interesting, and I don't like the blood and guts stuff, but I guess if it's cartoons, I
Sure,
can deal
that's
with
okay,
it.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to. I don't know when the boys are coming back.
I have to look at these gaps are killing me. But yes.
But that being said, there are some shows movies on the horizon, like Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Yeah, the new F1 movie got announced the other day.
Okay, that should be interesting.
Yeah.
The F1 Formula Racing.
Yeah.
Are you a fan? of
Yeah,
F1?
I am.
Nice.
Yes, I'm a fan of the Ferrari racing team.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Lewis Hamilton wins another world title.
Awesome.
Great. So I'm looking forward to the Thunderbolts. I think that should be a very interesting film. You know, I'm curious to see, because one of the things in Captain America is that Bucky came in for a scene and indicated that he was running for Congress. So
From what I heard, and like from people who did trailer breakdowns, apparently, like by the time we see Thunderbolts, he wins the election and gets a Congress seat.
So in Congress, kicking ass.
All right, Bucky Barnes. All right.
Bucky Barnes.
All right,
Yep.
Congressman.
You're doing well at 109.
Yes.
Yeah.
So cool. And then the Red Guardian is another delight. I'm blanking on the actor's name who plays Hooper in Stranger.
Oh,
he also played the guy in Gran Turismo as well.
Why am I blanking? I met him.
It's David Attenborough, I'm pretty sure, right?
No, David Harbour. David Harbour.
David Harbour.
David Harbour.
David Attenborough is
You got
a whole
the you got the first one right.
Yeah.
David Harbour.
so that looks good. And then they have a Ghost from the Ant-Man movies, and they have Taskmaster and Elena, I guess they have.
Yeah.
And
So
John Walker.
Yeah, true. That looks good. That looks good. So
Yeah, should be good. And then two big ones coming up. One, the James Gunn Superman is coming up soon,
yeah.
Yeah,
which should be great.
We're definitely seeing that one in theaters.
Yes, I'll be there opening night for that.
Well, I mean, it's just when you look at it, it just they just hit the right elements. You know, it's like basically this looks like the 50s, 60s, Superman, and it just looks really, really good. And I'm looking forward to it. And the fact that they leaned into crypto, that's fantastic. And so and we have the Suicide Squad by James Gunn, and we have the Guardians of the Galaxy, so we know he can do this sort of stuff. I mean, now, did you see Creature Commandos?
I did not.
Okay, that's kind of out there. That's it's okay. I mean, it's kind of like what was that with John Cena, Peacemaker?
Yeah,
Yes,
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
It's kind of along those lines. So, but interesting. Okay, and then we have the one that I'm looking forward to.
I think we all are. Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Yes.
To me, to see the Thing realized like that is amazing to me. The Thing looks like the way the Thing should look. I mean, it's great. I'm very not that Thing. That's a whole different thing. I don't want to watch that movie, Bing. So. Yeah, I mean, look at him. He looks awesome. Mm-hmm. And I mean, look, Michael Chiklis did a great job, and he worked within the technology he had. But this new thing looks really great. And my theory is that we're dealing still with multiversal issues. I think that the Fantastic Four will start in one universe. Galactus will decimate that universe, and the Fantastic Four will flee into Marvel 616. That's my prediction.
That's a very good prediction, Stu.
Okay.
That's a very good prediction.
Well, and
I mean, hey, it is Galactus after all, so.
yeah, and I don't think you can introduce Galactus and then just have him still exist in the universe you're in. So I think that you can show him, but you've got to find a way to get him out of the picture.
I'm just glad he's not a big cloud. So
Exactly.
I'm just glad he's not a big cloud.
Well, was he a big cloud in the other Fantastic
Yeah,
Four?
the Jessica Alba one. Yeah, the one from few years back.
But I've heard.
And Chris Evans is Johnny Storm. So
and we saw Chris Evans as Johnny Storm in
Deadpool
and Wolverine.
that was good.
So what I spoilers what I've heard is that like those versions of the Fantastic Four may show up in this Fantastic Four if they go the multiversal route.
Yeah, I'd like to see him for a second.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me tell you. Here is the greatest pop culture moment in my life.
Okay.
Seeing around my birthday, seeing The Flash in Smog Castle Cinemas with my kids, seeing Michael Keaton as Batman again, and then seeing Nicolas Cage's Superman fight the Thangarian snare beast with Kevin right there.
Right, yeah, the guy who kind of created it. Yeah.
The guy, well, and what basically happened is in the multiverse, come together at the end of The Flash, there were all these alternative realities, and one of them was based on Kevin's unproduced script for Superman Lives.
Yeah.
And that's where Nicolas Cage would fight a giant spider,
Yeah.
which Kevin's like, I don't want him to fight a giant spider, so it's a Thangarian snare beast.
Yes,
So,
and it became reality.
and it became
So
reality.
great.
So that was cool. I mean, I've had many. I've been fortunate to have many pop culture, precious moments in my life. But that has to be at the top.
That's the meta of metas moments. Pretty
Yes,
cool. Pretty
exactly.
cool.
So,
Yeah.
So what? So we talked about Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
We talked about Superman, and we talked about Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Are there any other things on the horizon that am I right? Are they going to do a season 2 of Andor?
Yeah, they are.
Cool.
Yeah. The trailer
They're-
got released. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's saying it still looks good. This is the final season of Andor.
Why? Yeah, it's got kind of a hard stop. I mean, we know what happens.
Yeah.
So
Oh, coming up quick, April 22nd. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
excellent. So Max, we were going to talk sports all the time,
Yeah.
and we have the last little bit for you to cover sports.
Yeah. So
Go for it, my friend.
Alright, so about 8 days ago, we had the NHL trade deadline. So the last time for a bunch of teams to add up before the playoffs. So
And I see by your hat, you're a Devils fan.
Yeah.
So way to go, my friend. Great
Uh-huh.
parenting. Thank you very much.
yeah, the
Well, and if you notice, green Devil's hat
Yes.
from the
for Max Greenberg.
it's part of the vintage collection. So
Very nice. Excellent choice. It's great. It's a smooth hat, my friend.
yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, you have a lot of teams. If you especially have like Florida, who got like Brad Marchand, Seth Jones, and I like what they're doing. They're gearing up to go repeat. They really want to go. Ottawa loaded up. They got Dylan Cousins from Buffalo. They got Youngtown as Fabian Zetterlund, and then like some other stuff as well. Not really big pieces, but like depth pieces. He's definitely there for like to develop into the future, and I don't really think San Jose just got what they wanted out of him. So
That's huge for Florida.
yeah,
They just became even more stacked. So
yeah. And then you have the other Florida team who, with one move, you can go to the Oliver Bjorkstrand trade, which was a bit yeah.
March 5th.
Yeah, March 5th, yeah. This one trade, I love what Tampa did here. They, with a third liner and a second and a first and a fourth, 2 firsts and a fourth, got probably a lot of very good depth, what they needed to patch up their lines. It makes them a lot more better. I mean, they have one of the best power plays. One of the best power play scorers in Jake Getzel. Kucherov is still there. Hedman's still there. Point's still there. You're only missing Stamkos, but this team is still going to be pretty dangerous come playoff time, I think. Then you have Boston, which I feel bad for him. Like, they didn't need. It was very close. They didn't need to ship off a lot of pieces. Like, they didn't need to get rid of Marchand. They didn't need to, like, get rid of Coyle. They didn't need to get rid of a lot of other pieces. We knew Frederick was going to go. That was what we had been hearing for a while. Well, that's what happened. They just completely sold it, which I don't think they needed to do it because they still could have got in. They just had to beat out the Rangers and Detroit, who, I mean, they're probably not going to get in with that 6-game losing streak.
Should have kept Allmark, man, but that's just between you and me. So
Yeah, I mean, he has been pretty good, and Swayman hasn't been.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
been good. Yeah,
When history repeats itself, they did the same thing they did with firing Claude Julien a couple years back. They did the same thing with I forget if their other manager's name. I forget who, but they did the same thing 20 games in, which they didn't need to. But here they are now. And then if we focus up on I will touch up with, I am a Devils fan. I did like what they did. Hughes' injury hurts, but I mean,
big time.
Yeah,
It's huge. It's a huge.
yeah. But hey, getting
That's a huge blow.
yeah, but hey, getting Daniel Sprong as like for bottom 6 depth is pretty good. That Cody Glass guy's been pretty good as well. I like what they're doing. They're on a 3-game win
Yep,
streak.
they've been stepping up, but
Yeah.
we got 12 games left, something like that, 16.
Yeah. I think around like 17, 16, 15 games left.
Yeah,
so.
things change quick.
Yeah.
I'll be happy if they make the playoffs.
I think they do. I mean,
But
I think they win Monday. I think if the Blue Jackets win tonight, the Devils win Monday, and then they beat the Rangers, I think they get in.
yeah,
They have big games here and there. You gotta win those. But it's like if you don't go on like a stretch or you lose a bunch of games, I think they get in. No problem.
yeah. But once they get there, it's gonna be tough without Jack Hughes,
I
Dougie
think-
Hamilton, Jonas Siegenthaler.
Yeah,
It's gonna
I
be
think.
tough.
Yeah, I think that Carolina probably like swallows them whole in like 6.
They always do. It's kind of a fact of life now, which unfortunately, but
then again,
hey, it's hockey. You never know.
yeah.
You never know.
And then if we go to speaking of the Hurricanes, I'm completely stunned how they got assets for Mikko Rantanen. You get 3 firsts for a guy who did nothing on your offense. You played like 500 hockey for down the stretch with him there. I know why they did this trade, why they got Mikko in the first place. They tried to replicate what they did when they got Jay Gensel. It didn't work out, so they ship him off, and they somehow get so many assets, which is
Yeah, they see something in him. So
the Dallas Stars are gonna do what they did with Matt Duchene, and where they turned him into a stud. They're gonna do the same thing. I mean, he's already picked up points for him. So
yeah.
speaking of Dallas, we pretty much know how the West will probably play out. I mean, you have Vegas, who's there, and it's still scary, right? Dallas, who will be, as we've talked about, not Houston, which I'll talk about for another day, and their hockey future. And then you have the Avs, who bought up a pretty good amount. I mean, shipping off Casey Middlestat was pretty needed, and they upgraded there. They got good depth. They found their goalie in Mackenzie Blackwood. So
Yeah, but Winnipeg's a very good team.
Here's the thing. I don't trust them.
Okay.
And here's why. Every time they load up the same thing they did last year. They got like Tyler Toffoli at the deadline. And what did they do? Win only one playoff game. They did the same thing the other year when they played Vegas. They only won one playoff game. And then they got destroyed after that. I just don't trust the Jets. I just don't. And that's my reasoning why Hellbuck can't handle the big stage. While he has been good, I just do not trust Winnipeg. And that's just my take. I do think they probably don't make it out. I think with what Dallas has done, you have to make the Cup Finals. If you don't, you prove that you guys just can't, and you've loaded up. I don't think Edmonton makes it because that blue line defense, as we saw in the Devils game, just absolutely collapses in big times. That's just the problem that you see. The Kings probably don't. I mean, Kuzmenko has upside. I saw it when he was in Philadelphia, which I will talk about them in a bit. But I mean, I just don't think they. I think Edmonton beats them, but then they lose to Vegas probably. And yeah, I did talk about the Flyers, which I can. Ming, you and I can laugh at what they're doing.
Yes, we can.
I mean,
So
what was your? I wonder what their GMs are thinking when you ship off all of your center depth for a guy you keep for 2 months and then ship him off for what? You're a third?
Yeah.
If you wanted one, you could have just asked Calgary for it.
yeah,
But you didn't, and now your next best center besides Couturier is an AHL prospect.
yes.
Who they're now depending on him to log
You can't
top.
bank on that.
For him to log like line 2 minutes now. The kid is probably just going to sit, and they don't really develop talent. And besides connecting.
Yeah,
They're speaking of which, they're going to have him, Tippett, and Michkov just out there, and they're just going to be rotting on those lines and left out to dry.
yeah. Oh well.
Mhm.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Not my problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, real quick to wrap up, I'll talk about the wild card race in the East. I mean, I do want to talk about Washington. Good job on getting Beauvillier. Hey, I'm shocked he's only 27. I thought he was a lot older, but I mean, hey, good depth piece, good way to pick it up. They'll probably win the East. I think Ovi's time is drawing nigh. I mean, he's close to getting that record. I think if he does, he probably doesn't have much to play for after that. I think he has like one more year left in him.
He's done everything.
Like unless he really, really wants a cup, which he already has one. I don't know what he wants, but I mean, there's that. And then
Yeah, that's the last thing.
yeah, when we talk about the East is pretty close, except for Buffalo. But I mean, Ottawa has looked pretty good. They've won 4 or 5. They've won 5 in a row. Blue Jackets, you have a must-win game against the Rangers. If you win, I think you probably survive to get that wild card spot. I think Ottawa gets it.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. And speaking of the Rangers, I mean, ever since you've had the Costco guys, I'm pretty sure you've lost like 13 to 17.
Are they a curse?
I mean, hey, if Grimace cursed the Mets to win, I think they've got cursed for the Rangers to lose.
That could be.
Yeah. I mean, Rangers, simply put, you have 5 guys on offense, no defense, especially with Fox. Shesty can only do so much while he is a good goalie. It is beatable. I think even if you do make the playoffs, you have to probably either play Florida, Toronto, or Washington because they're cycling through. You get Florida, you're done in 5.
Yeah.
I doubt you can beat them. Washington, you either beat in 7 or Washington just beats you in like 5 or 6. Or Toronto, you do move on because I don't trust that team, but then you get clapped by Tampa or Florida, whoever you play. And then, simply put, I think it's still close. Detroit, you need to win games, but, I mean, you've lost like 6 before playing Buffalo. And you lost last night in a pretty must-win game against Carolina, which I don't think
Yeah, gotta give it to Columbus. Without Johnny Gaudreau,
Yeah,
they've,
I mean, it was a
kept
tough loss.
Together. That's a massive blow. So
Yeah, massive blow, massive tragedy, but you've come back strong.
yeah,
I think if you can like finish out and make the playoffs, it'll be like it would your
big
season,
symbol.
Yeah,
Big. That's a
You
big. That's
would-
big.
easily succeed in my opinion and have a successful season.
Yeah. Right on. Good analysis, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well, I think that one thing to consider is that for a variety of unfortunate reasons, there was a long stretch between the times that we did podcasts. And now this was only a 3-month stretch. And I think we're going to really try to have more frequent visits with you, Ming, because you're really...
You know, I love that. So
Ming,
you guys
you're-
come back whenever you want.
You're
No
one
problem.
of our favorite people. So you're the
Likewise, my friends.
the maverick of Central Jersey. Well, actually, of the Eastern Seaboard.
Yep.
Thank you.
For everyone else, compliments and brickbats. I know you'll contact me. It's a pleasure spending time with Max. As I said,
great job,
Likewise.
Max.
Oh, yeah.
Great job.
excellent
Likewise.
job.
Thanks, man.
We wish the best possible appropriate luck without jinxing her to Dina on her dance competition.
Yeah. Good luck to you later today as well.
So and good
Thank
luck to you.
Yeah,
So
I will say I'll probably next Triple Crown episode I do, I'll probably discuss the NFL offseason and the Cowboy drama.
Yeah, and then we should be in baseball by then.
Yeah, we will be. So
And
yeah,
we
I'll
will
discuss my hopes and for the unfortunate Yankees pitching staff.
and we will make sure that that is within a very soon time period. That we're going to try not to go have such a long interval between podcasts. But for everybody else, have a great day. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Yeah, you have a sign off, Max?
I mean, just like
Max, you have to tip your hat.
yeah,
Max is a gentleman.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and for me, see ya.
See ya.